I think that these SEO thing is all a bunch of crap. I'm sorry. We keep hearing the same thing, same pitches, and getting the same non-results. This last, so I was very anxious to speak to you, and unfortunately, the timing was perfect for us. We went with a company who promised us the moon again, talking about, listen, we are a smaller boutique firm in the Northeast. We are not a Jacoby Myers. We're not a Morgan & Morgan.
Right.
Unless we're great in our little tiny town of a mile long, but nobody's been able to get us onto the top 3. But no one has also had us what is the word that is called, David? Disengage.
I said disavow, but that's one of many things. I don't want, just like what'll happen in these workshops is I'll show a couple tools and people will just like glom onto one particular tool or technique. But
go ahead, Dave. You can go speak a little.
Let me just add some color to this. So in my career of being on my own, which is now 12 years in various iterations, it's about 3.5 years in this iteration. It's probably going to be the iteration going many years forward.
What do you mean probably?
No, it's going to be like this. Obviously, I'm done.
What
am
I doing here?
No, but what I'm trying to say is I've been through probably 6 to 10 different internet marketing, SEO, et cetera, companies. So the reason why we went with this most recent company was because it was owned and run by a law firm out of Maryland, which was, similar in size to us, and they treated it more like a co-op, and they were able to keep costs low because of this sort of co-op approach. Mm-hmm. And they came on, they were really doing SEO for us, but they came on trying to improve our position in our sort of locale, which is our office is in Tinton Falls, New Jersey. We're located in Monmouth County, New Jersey. New Jersey in and of itself is not a very big state. So they wanted to sort of grab a stranglehold on our local before they expanded out. So I sort of bought into that. Where it sort of hit the fan was we wanted to start opening satellite offices. And we have actual brick and mortar offices in 3, what used to be 4 locations. And our number 1 location, which is Tinton Falls, which had upwards of, 120, 150, if I remember correctly, 5-star reviews. They somehow, it has never been suspended in my lifetime. They somehow did something in whatever their approach was to get us totally suspended at every location. And despite 2 or 3 attempts, uploading our lease, uploading pictures of our offices, uploading other stuff, Google has basically said no, and there's really no way to fix it. And I guess the most insulting part of it all is they refuse to take any accountability. Oh, it's not us. This was your idea. This wasn't our idea. So as Dawn said, this was like perfect timing because we were going through the storm, and you happened to give this talk a couple of days ago about why SEO is really not what everybody sells it as it is. But I guess my main concern, number 1, is to get our traction and get our suspension unsuspended, and then go forward with attracting people to us using the internet.
So what I'd like, Dennis, because unfortunately he wasn't able to be on the call with Pilma, but I also myself would like to get some more background because I did a little digging on you. Have a lot of interesting, I know you've done some publications, people go to you as this consultant. So I would love to hear more about your background, and tell David, I know that you were kind of one of the, started with at the very beginning with Yahoo, and what kind of services you offer, if any, that can help us other than incredible advice that this is all kind of a bunch of smoke and mirrors.
So there's training, consulting, and implementation. And I believe we have to do all 3 because if you're going to be putting out education on how to do search engine optimization, whatever, it has to be backed by your actual results, and it needs to be public. So we have courses on how to do SEO that all the top SEOs go to. So anyone who's any good at SEO, this is going to sound like a boast unless you're in the industry, anyone who's any good at SEO, they get training from us. Because I built the analytics at Yahoo over 20 years ago. I was one of the first people there. And for better or worse, I was the guy that people came to ask questions about SEO. So I spoke at all the conferences about SEO. We've trained up all the top people in this industry. I'm a lot older than I look. And
I am not.
And so the
I'd
thing
like
is
to say I am. That I look a lot better than I do, but
Yeah.
So Dawn, like you saw a couple days ago, a lot of the things that we do when we do these audits, they create a lot of anger among SEO agencies because they don't like being exposed. And we're not here to try to put other people out of business or, you know, attack people, but there are standards. And if you can't adhere by some very basic standards, and I'll show you on your site in just a minute, nothing here we're talking about is a matter of opinion, right? If you're a cardiac surgeon, there's standards. There's no smoke and mirrors, secret, proprietary. Oh, I'd have to, you know, David, you'd have to sign this NDA, or if I told you I'd have to kill you, or like, what is all the secretive spy, witch doctor voodoo nonsense shit going on? This is just like flying an airplane. This is just like, you know, passing the bar and being an attorney. There's clear standards. And if you can't operate by these standards and also clearly show what you're doing, you have no business doing SEO just because you can convince other people to give you money. And these people trust you, which is 90%. I'm going to avoid getting on my soapbox because once you get me started, then it's just, we go somewhere else. But 90% of these agencies that sell social media, SEO, whatever it is, 90% of their focus is on the selling of trying to convince somebody to get your money. And I view the role of the emergency room surgeon is if people come into the emergency room. So let me ask you, Dawn. Let's say, God forbid, you got in some kind of accident, like a car accident or something, and you went to the emergency room. What do they do? What happens?
They fix you.
they fix you until they send you to a specialist.
Yeah, well, they take their blood and take your measurements and take all X-rays, and then based on that, they make a diagnosis. Say, well, you know, David, we took a look at the X-rays and it looks like you have a broken clavicle. It looks like this. It looks like that. Based on the data, no magic voodoo, and based on what we see here, it looks like you're going to need to get this kind of surgery. So then we recommend the treatment plan. It looks like because of what we see here, here's the data. This is what we specifically need to do for you in your situation, because Dawn comes in and Dawn sprained her ankle. So there's something different we're going to do for Dawn. And according to the X-ray, we can see like her ankle is broken, or we can see like whatever it is. And based on the data, here's what we're going to do specifically for you, David, which is different than what we're going to do for Dawn, because we're looking at the data, we're seeing what's going on. And so it's a matter of expertise based on the data with people who are properly trained, using the tools, being completely transparent to the patient. And that's the way it should be. There's no salespeople in the emergency room. Why? Like, don't you think the hospital could make more money if they had salespeople in the emergency room?
Of course.
So in the world of SEO and digital, because the underlying client doesn't know what's going on, the people that are collecting the money from these agencies, they themselves often don't know. They're not engineers. By the way, if you do SEO, you have to be an engineer, okay? If you work on a car, you have to be a mechanic. You have to know how to turn the gears. You have to know, just because you're good at talking to somebody. So Dawn, let me tell you, we need to replace your engine. We need to do a new transmission. We need to, you know, it's going to be $20,000, Dawn, because your car, you're going to, you know, you're low on blinker fluid too. We need to add blinker fluid, right? And you're not going to know any better. So you're going to like, well, okay, I guess like that's what I need. So, okay, sure, I'll sign up for your thing. I consider that scammy.
So interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure that everyone in every agency that we've worked with, none of the people in charge of the SEO that come back to us have been engineers, number one. So that's a very interesting comment. And I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So in the grand scheme of things, this whole promise of getting us ever to placement 1 and 2, what's the reality?
Yeah, let's look. Let's
Against
look
the
data.
big firms.
So
Like,
let me just
Okay.
add something. So what you're saying, obviously, to your point, it makes a lot of sense because they have to be able to know the problem to fix the problem. But
Yeah.
what the conversation that Dawn and I have had, because this is our 3rd or 4th company in the past 3 or 4 years. These companies are not in existence for clients to leave, right? So they obviously think that what they do is somewhat effective. So my take on it was perhaps we are just in the most competitive market in the country, which we are, the New York Metro, and it's just that difficult. And we hire somebody from Chicago, or we hire somebody from DC, or we hire somebody from California, and they just aren't here, right? Or they just aren't in our town to know how hard it is. But as you say, like, if it's standards and regulations that you just have to follow, maybe they just don't know that, and that's why they're failing, as opposed to just not knowing our market. And and maybe they're being successful in the other markets by accident.
Is it that, or is it the combination of the market and the reality of us really ever going to beat out Jacoby Myers, Morgan and Morgan, the big fish? And are we ever going to come up as on page 1 as the top 3?
Yeah,
really
you're not exactly going to outrank Morgan and Morgan anytime soon on the keyword personal injury or car accident, or personal injury attorney near me, or abogado, or whatever. Yeah.
Well, so here's my comment to Dawn's point, is that I agree. If somebody's in Manhattan and they're looking for an attorney, they're not finding us. But if somebody is in central New Jersey, which is far less competitive, there's no reason why we can't rank.
Right. Every one of these things is a market. So the entire New York Metro with all the boroughs and New Jersey, that's a huge, huge market. But ranking on a particular term related to like dog bites in, whatever, Millburn, New Jersey, that's very doable. So this idea of
how do you know Millburn, New Jersey?
Because I was there a week ago.
Okay.
Where do you live? Where are you from? You in California?
This office here is Vegas, which is our video studio.
Oh,
and
nice.
you can see up there, we're not filming today, but there's a video studio up there.
Oh, very cool.
And I like Vegas. This is a cool place.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the ceilings.
I go out on it's like this penthouse thing. You can see the strip just outside of here, and
that's very cool.
But
is that where you reside? Do you reside in Vegas?
What's that?
You live in Vegas?
I kind of live in Vegas. I'm here a few days a month. It's a shame. We should really use this place, but whatever. My mom's in LA, so I spend a lot of time there, and then I do a lot of traveling, and I'm internationally training a lot of people in Pakistan and the Philippines, Kosovo, and India, and places like that.
Interesting.
Because our whole mission is creating jobs. And so when our mission, this is something I came with a long time ago, is to create 1 million jobs. And we're 1/4 of the way there, which is awesome. And the more we help other agencies grow, because we put in place the standard, like here's the standard. If you want to do social media, here's the standard. There's a course, there's a certification. Just like any kind of trade, there should be a legit certification that's put underneath whatever the governing body is. So if you do social media, it's social media marketing role. And guess what? We have courses in there. If you do digital marketing, it's under digitalmarketer.com. And guess what? I'm the top trainer there, along with all the other trainers, right? We're putting in place these standards. So agencies that want to do things legitimately and transparently there's no equivalent of the bar or whatever yet in digital, because it's just whatever. It's not there yet. It will happen. And we're working with Facebook and TikTok and GoDaddy and Fiverr and whatnot to put in place these standards. I think it's going to be another 10 years before these standards actually become recognized and trusted, kind of like the Carol Wright seal of approval, Better Business Bureau, that will happen. And as we have more and more agencies, we train 2,000 agencies. These agencies are able to grow. They're able to publish, here's exactly how we do our stuff. And then there's none of this need to sell, right? Then we have agencies that specialize just in law firms, right? Just in building websites for law firms, just in doing Facebook ads for chiropractors, just in doing like whatever, right? And they just do that. And it's like Chick-fil-A making chicken sandwiches. That's what they do. Like, otherwise you have a cafeteria trying to do everything. It doesn't work, right? So all these agencies are using our standards, and they're also employing people in some of our groups. We have groups that have 20,000, groups that have 1.2 million, with a lot of these people that are making $3 an hour, which is life-changing money over there. I've been accused and called all sorts of things by exploiting third world labor, you know what, but these people they're training. I'll log in and show you. You can see like we're hiring just tons and tons of people so they can implement these standards on behalf of these agencies. Back to David's point, most agency owners are salespeople, and we consider them as like waiters, right? So if you have a restaurant, then the waiter is there saying, oh, you know, Dawn, the soup is so delicious. Let me tell you about the salad. But then in the back, you have the cooks, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have the best waiters that talk, you know, a wonderful French accent and like make you feel good. And the dining room is beautiful. But in the back, you have, you know, someone just ordering from McDonald's and trying to put it on nice silverware, which is what most agencies are doing. Because most agencies.
So they're like outsourcing it to somebody that may not be so reliable.
And that's what we were looking at a couple of days ago, where I don't have definitive proof that, because we looked at what, 3 or 4 sites, Dawn. We tried to look at as many as we could, but you saw the same pattern. Okay. Like at a certain point, it's like, okay, and I've done this enough time. Like once I see this, I'm like, okay, I know exactly what's going on. I don't even need to see anymore. I know what's going on here. Right. I've done thousands of audits. It's so obvious. It's Groundhog Day. This movie just keeps repeating itself, including the repeating of how to fix these problems, because we know what to do when if we see it like this is what we need to do. It's all published. It's not based on, because a lot of people are like, oh, I want Dennis to be personally looking at my stuff. You don't need Dennis to be looking at your stuff. There's the freaking checklist. Here's how you do the audit. Here's how you see these particular things are broken. Here's how you fix them. It's not rocket science. You do not need Leonardo da Vinci to come in and invent some new thing, you know?
I ask you a question, and I don't mean this to be insulting in any way, shape, or form. So you worked at Yahoo. You worked on the algorithm at Yahoo. At least for me, I don't go to Yahoo. I don't think many people go to Yahoo anymore. So you go to Google. How transferable are what you're doing and your skill set to Google and Bing and whatever else is out there?
Where do you think Google got their engineers?
Probably Yahoo.
And a lot of people came in through us on my team that I trained up, and then Google became this other business across town, just a few miles away, and a lot of people left. And then when, you know, Google IPO'd a few years later or whatever, a bunch of people on my team made a lot of money. Some people made even over $100 million when Google IPO'd.
Wow.
And then they were saying, Dennis, you should have come join us at Google. I'm like, yeah, but I'm loyal. I stayed at Yahoo, and I was in the last.
I'm sure you didn't do so bad with Yahoo either, by the way.
You know, I was crying alligator tears for
Yahoo
me.
also, correct me if I'm wrong, Yahoo is still very much alive, especially in other countries across the world.
Yeah, Yahoo Japan and all these other pieces. But let me tell you this. So Google arguably is best known for monetizing searches, right? You do a search, they show results, and then there's ads. Guess where that technology came from? You can provably see that Yahoo had a lawsuit against Google for straight up stealing that. And so we waited on that until Google IPO'd. So they stole that from us. We built that in-house. All the technology around how do you show ads was completely 100% stolen from us. Not even a question. It's there. Look it up, right? You're lawyers. Go look it up. Look at the lawsuit. Anyway,
it's very interesting.
But the point is that the principles of search engine optimization are still the same. And my job was to build up a team of people to protect search results, because you have all these people that do SEO that are trying to trick us. And I understand why they're trying to trick us. They have clients that are paying them money because they want to rank on New York personal injury attorney. Very competitive. Lots of people there. There's only 3 spots really in the local 3-pack, right? And so you have the Jacoby and Myers and Morgan and all these other guys out there. And the thing is, every one of these searches is a separate auction. So the idea of ranking number 1 doesn't mean anything, because rank number 1 on what, right? There's literally trillions of individual searches. Half of the searches that are done today have never been searched, have never been typed in the history of the internet. You would never think it'd be like that, but it is. Half are unique searches, because now searches are often 4 or 5 keywords long with misspellings in different orders. You know, Montclair, New Jersey, car accident best lawyer. Like that's probably a unique search.
You know New Jersey. I want to know why you know New Jersey.
Because I spend a lot of time in New Jersey. Yeah.
I went to school. Well, I went to high school.
Okay, so everything you're saying to me is, I am understanding and hearing you, but it's a bit discouraging because really, how do we ever get to where we need to be? Because people don't go past 1, 2, 3. Maybe they go to 4.
Yeah. Okay.
How do we get there?
Yeah. So I guess how do we diagnose and fix the problem?
So right now we've been talking philosophically this whole time, right? And which is exactly where salespeople want to have you, and they put enough pain and make you feel like because if you're going to be a pro level salesperson, you have to establish all this pain, and then you make an offer, and then they sign up for your thing, right? But I don't want to do that. I want to actually look at your data, okay? And I think, John, this will give you some encouragement. Is that fair?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's see. Can you see my screen?
I can.
All right.
I had to leave my office because it's being vacuumed for a few minutes. So I know that guy.
We're on your site here, okay?
I know that guy.
Look at that handsome guy. You're missing a fav icon here, by the way. You see this?
I don't know what that is, but okay.
You see like these little logos for each in the tabs? Not a huge deal, but just like simple thing to fix, by the way. Okay. That doesn't really matter. But let's look at from an SEO standpoint. You have a domain rating of 18, which doesn't really mean anything to you right now, but that's kind of low. That's kind of your SEO power. That's like the amount of juice that you've collected from these 2,800 links. So you have 2,800 links that have come to you, and each link carries a certain amount of power. Some of them could be some tiny little thing where they only have like a little squirt of juice, and some of them can be like a giant gallon of juice, right? So these links each pass some amount of power to you. So does that make sense? The idea of SEO is fundamentally around links that pass good juice and are authoritative, not garbage links that are not relevant and pass no juice.
Right.
But in order to get a link, you have to have content on your website that's worth linking to. So you have a link here on the 41 best Brooklyn personal injury attorneys on one of these kind of directory sites. And this site's powerful. Expertise.com has a DR 90, and it's got 2 million visitors per month. And it drives you about 800 visitors a month. And it helps you rank on 140 of the, 1,400 keywords that you rank on, right?
Which is funny because, I mean, we do cases in New York, but I mean, I wouldn't call us a Brooklyn law firm by any means.
Well, but this is what is put here, right? Okay.
Yeah, it's great.
And it helps you rank on these 170 keywords. And you have links here and inbound law marketing. So a lot of these are sort of pay to play directory sorts of things, which will work and not work. And maybe as part of the co-op that you're in, you get listed in these other places and you get.
I think so. Because we didn't have 2,800. That's one thing that I see that's definitely increased before we started with these people.
Yes, but like one of the things that the co-op did was like gave us like a spreadsheet and basically said, go to these lists and see, and look at the rating. If the rating is greater than this, try and sign up. Like they basically had us do it ourselves, which I mean, you can imagine amongst the many other things that we're doing.
So what you just mentioned there, David, do you think that someone at $3 an hour could probably do that and credibly it's better than your time? Our time is more than $3 an hour. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now I have done it many times, directory listings, writing articles. I've done it myself just to show how to do it, but I promise you that's not what I'm spending my time doing, right? I've demonstrated to show I actually know what I'm doing, right? So you have lots of these, and some of them are kind of garbagey and some of them are okay. And sometimes you lose a link, as you can see, you lost this one a few days ago, right? Or it gets redirected. And most of these ones here, to your credit, are actually pretty relevant. Auto accident lawyer, New Jersey. But this is a little weird because I don't want to go too far into this, but if we look at this as one of these thousands of links, this is clearly done for SEO in a semi-spammy kind of way, right? Because how many people are going to write an article and in the headline hyperlink on the keyword auto accident lawyer, New Jersey? No human being is going to do that, right? And then this is a thin page. It has I don't think this is you. This looks like stock art, right?
No, that's stock
Here's
art.
this other
That's
thing
not-
of New Jersey. So this
We
is
didn't do this.
this is an example of what's called Google stacking, which is not necessarily bad. But if you want to rank in Google, what are you going to do? Embed Google Maps, put in a Google video, use a Gmail account, make sure this ties to a GMB. And so
could something like this, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dennis.
Yeah.
Could something like this ban us from GMB if they
Yes.
see that this is?
Oh no, well, it'll hurt you in the SEO results, but it's not going to. A suspension on GMB is usually one of three key reasons. It's because your name is not exactly, your name in the listing is not exactly the name that's on your business license. Two is that the
That's
office
true.
or address that you have is not a address that people can physically visit. Because a lot of people, you know, they have a regional business or it's a virtual office or it's one of those like shared offices, like a co-working thing.
Yeah, so I want to talk to you about that after. And what's
Yeah.
3?
Anyway, and 3 is something to do with the description in the listing. It's the wrong geography, or there's something that's inaccurate about the category that they're in. So lawyers and real estate agents and locksmiths are in a category that is, it's not called danger, but basically like these high abuse categories.
Strict scrutiny.
Yeah, I guess because they, you know, law firms and real estate agents and locksmiths tend to, because it's very competitive and local, they tend to resort to spammy sorts of techniques, and then they can report each other. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody reported you, and then we could figure out what happened. Well, first off, we have to fix what's broken, and then we can resubmit. And we have a team of people that has 3 platinum GMB trainers from Google that can get your stuff back, which is a whole nother thing. That's sort of part of SEO, but sort of not part of SEO because of depends on how you got suspended, right? So this particular page, Online Web Zone, has nothing to do with lawyers. It's just some random site that is meant to just put up these spam pages to try to give you some very weak SEO. Now, if you're trying to rank on some small town terms, a few links from here probably will work because this has got a DR6, so the higher the better. We really, not like there's a threshold, but you know, ones above 50 are usually pretty good. Ones above 70 or 80 are really good, but they've got a bunch of links. This page ranks on nothing.
Wow.
So this page on the website has a 6 and ranks on 2 keywords. This page has 0 juice and 0 links, 0 domains, 0 traffic, and 0 keywords.
So does that hurt?
No, it just doesn't help you. It's just garbage.
Got it.
Yeah. Because if we go look at onlinewebzone.com, so just imagine you or me as a search engine engineer, and you're looking at what is, because we're always trying to look at who's trying to scam us, okay? Intentionally or not. So if I go to Online Web Zone and I'm looking at heating contractor Saskatoon, experienced medical coding company, border real estate, so in Altona, Canada, like truck pet bed liner, Shrewsbury, New Jersey. What do you have to be a search engine engineer to figure out what's going on here? Is it kind of obvious what's going on here? It's a bullshit directory listing site trying to drive SEO, and it's not working because no one's going to link to it. Who's going to link to this site? As a human being, who's going to possibly ever going to want to link to this site? Do you think the New York Times would link to this site? Pretty obvious, right? So that's kind of garbagey. And look, they're missing a fav icon too. Not like that matters. Okay. So you have lots of these links. Some of them are worthwhile. And actually, you only have a few. It's the ones at the very top that are really worth anything. And if we look at the keywords you rank on, so you rank on 1,300 keywords. Well, 1,500 would include all the other subdomains and web pages. So you rank on your own name, of course, right? Of course, you rank on your name, David Kreizer, Kreizer Law, Central Park 5 defense lawyers. So often when you write an article about something, that's going to rank on that term. And it's got 40 searches per month, so 1 per day. And you moved up from position 4 to 1. So that's nice, right? Doesn't give you very much. How much can you sue for false imprisonment? Well, you wrote an article about false imprisonment. And so you rank.
So we get calls from all over the country.
because you have 30 people come to this, 30 people are searching and 12 people are coming. So that's almost a third because you rank in position number 1. And it's not like you always have to be in position 1, but position 1 gets 3 times the traffic of position 2, which gets almost 3 times the traffic as position 3, right?
Interesting.
And look, anything you write an article about, Uber accidents. So here you are, New Jersey rideshare accident attorney, right? And then on down, following the power law. So these get you a few visits per month, civil rights attorney, New Jersey Lyft, Uber this, right? And you're in position, you slip from 15 to 17 here, car accident attorneys, New Jersey. So of all the SEO firms that you've ever had that do internet marketing and promise you the moon, how many of them have actually showed you stuff like this?
So I've seen the Ahrefs, or however you pronounce it. I've seen the domain rating. I've never been through an analysis like this where you're actually pointing out how many visits we get and where the BS sites are and et cetera.
So
probably because the SEO companies are creating those BS sites.
Yeah, well, I mean, so we're going to cover how this
Dennis, between volume versus traffic, because traffic is only 3, but volume is at, let's say, 500.
Okay. So volume is how many people. So there's 500 people a month searching on car accident attorneys, New Jersey. So that's pretty good. But you are in position 17. So where's position 17? It's on the second page, right? So what this says is,
so nowhere.
How do you hide a dead body? On the second page of Google, right? So of these 500 people that are searching, so just pretend that you got in a car accident and you're in New Jersey and you did this search, car accident attorneys, New Jersey. About 25% of the people are going to click on that first link, and 10% of people will click on the second link, and 4% of people will click on the third link, and some people, a couple percent, will even go past the first page because they clicked on the first few and then just go to the second page. And of those 3 people made it as far as going all the way to the second page and clicking on your thing, right? So what this says is, yikes, it'd really be nice to be on the first page. If we could move from, so if we can look at things that are just off of the first page, like this is position 12, this is just off of the first page, right? Because first page is 10. Then if we can just get to the first page, we're going to get a lot more traffic. But obviously being in position 1, 2, or 3 is worth way more than just being in the first 10, right? Also, not just ranking is more important, but you see, this is what we talked about a couple of days ago. You are showing up in 2 SERP features. And David, we talked about SERP features as when you do a search, New Jersey Lyft accident. By the way, I use SEMrush, Ahrefs, Majestic. I'm on the board of a couple of these companies too. So full disclosure, right? So
SEMrush was the other one that I was thinking about. What the other one that we've been presented with, and that is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I advise them on what they should do and all this. Okay, so let's see. There's an ad. Wow, what a surprise! And of course, you can show up in the local search ads as well as the regular Google ads, which you should do, but it's competitive. Here's the regular 3-pack. And when you do searches, you're going to see people also ask, right? So you show up in PAA. And there's videos and tweets and images and all that. In fact, this one doesn't seem to have any of these. So you have 2 SERP features here. Which one? We're looking at this one. You show up in the local pack and you have a site link.
Well, I used to show up in the local pack.
Okay, well, that's true because it said you lost it. But so here you're showing up, you have 2 SERP features. So you're showing up in 2 areas, in site links and in PAA, right? What we really want is where we're getting on the terms that really matter for us. So let's say, how much can you sue for false imprisonment? So this one seems to do pretty decently for you. You only have 2 SERP features. So what can you do? Well, let's go to this page.
What does SERP stand for, by the way?
Search engine results page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's lots of acronyms. I apologize. My buddy Bruce Clay is the one who invented the term search engine optimization, which is crazy.
Oh God.
Yeah. Okay, so here's an article.
Any royalties from it?
No, he doesn't. But he speaks, and we get to hang out. And he was the first SEO company to make $10 million a year, way back in the day. And then he created a whole franchise called Bruce Clay and all this, which whatever. He was telling me I didn't charge enough money. Whatever. So he's like, Dennis, you don't charge enough money for what you do. because I was even an OG before him. I've been doing it 30 years. Okay, so you have this webpage, and this one does well for you. Let me explain one concept. In the world of SEO or digital marketing in general, it's not how much technical wizardry do we have or a blind checklist that we follow. It's how do we get more out of what's already working, right? This one seems like it's already working, but of course we want to look at your GMB, see how many calls you're getting, see how many of these turn into clients, see like, are they just people that are asking questions that are not qualified? Are certain cases worth more? You know, we need to see, like, of the things that are providing the most business value for you, Dawn and David, how do we get more out of that, right? And so SEO is the same thing. How do we get more? So running ads on these keywords, I consider this an extension of SEO. Because why? Because running Google ads on false imprisonment, whatever the keyword is a way to kind of like rent the term before we buy, right? We're going to rent that house before we're going to buy that house, right? We're going to rent that car first. But of course, you know, we want to get whatever, we'd rather have it through SEO than paying for it. But if we want to test it out, we're going to rent it for a little bit, right? So you have this is a great article, but notice you only had 2 SERP features. So based on what you know, when you do a search, and you can see there's all these things that people could, I don't know, it's about time to eat some food here now. So let's say, what do I like to eat? I don't know, steak recipes, something like that, right? Oh, look, there's recipe extensions. There's other extensions, like review extensions. There's people also ask, there's videos, there's tweets, there's, you know, maybe there's like people running ads where they're selling whatever, food delivery, right? But you see how there's richness in search results? And there's videos, images, news, travel, there's all kinds of stuff, right? So when you have a page that's doing well.
And then you notice also, like, just out of your example, like that Natasha's kitchen, she came up on images, she came up on recipes, she came up on, so she,
the point is
the pipeline with
to
all
hit it
these
from all angles.
Yeah, so Meyer might rank on regular search results, but how about video? How about tweets? How about people also ask? How about the top and bottom ad? How about the local 3-pack? You see what I mean? So it's not just ranking number one on what term and in what SERP feature, right? So this one, so let me ask you this. So someone who has a business mindset of helping Kreizer Law get more cases in things you're already getting cases, not new things. I don't ever want to go against new things. I only want to get more of what's already good, right? Because those are 2 different things. One's a startup and the other one is, which I don't touch. And one is maximizing what's already there. So we see that, let's say this page is doing well, or we look at your Google Analytics, which I don't have access to, and we see like what's doing the best. I want more of whatever's doing well. So based on that, and you know about universal search, which is showing lots of different things, because people are going to, you know, videos or images or news or definitions or like all these different ways that Google's going to try to answer that question. What kind of obvious things could you do with this page?
Hold on one second, sorry.
Well, video, first of all, right? Would you start linking to some video?
Yeah.
Would you put in some of those links?
Yeah. So you don't have, well, you have this link, Central Park 5, and this one here, but there's so much more. I wouldn't even necessarily link to contact because you already have this in the top right and you have a form. So that's probably bleeding juice. You could put the phone number here, make it easy, you know, especially for mobile, but there's a lot of other things here. Okay, so this one, can I sue for false imprisonment? Okay, well, remember we were saying before, if you want to show authority here, you have to have all the related sorts of PAA. So you got to make 1-minute videos. So what are
so it's interesting you say that. David's had to jump off for a second. One of the things, and I'm not making
I'm here. I'm listening. I just have to...
I'm not making excuses, but you know, it's like, okay, right now we're HR right now, whatever. But one of the things that I've said to him that's so important, and I think would help where we could use what you're saying, is I wanted to do a drip campaign of him talking to, when we chase leads, instead of just having our intake department call and say, hi, we're trying to reach you. I understand you're looking for an attorney. Send them videos of David talking, giving some free advice.
Absolutely.
Hey,
and that free advice should live on your blog as separate web pages. So Dawn, someone who does a search for, you know, suing for false imprisonment, you see these other things below here? So this is called instant search. So Google's also coming up with other things that are related searches, which is the same thing as people also ask. So you understand PAA and instant search, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, David, what you would do is you would just make a 1-minute video about each of these different things. And let's just say that, Dawn or someone else on your team makes a list, false imprisonment. Well, okay. Well, people also ask, what is that? And what are the 4 elements? I don't know what the 4 elements are. What about in Florida? What is it, So you would literally go through PAA and just start make a list of these things, Dawn or David or whoever, or someone on your team. And then when it's time, set aside an hour a month, or maybe 30 minutes twice a month, something like that. And David, you just sit on your iPhone and you just answer question after question after question. Do you think you could do, 15 or 20 of these in half an hour? Just answer all these questions. I'm sure you've answered these questions about a zillion times. Do you think just without any prep, you could just say, hey, so what is false imprisonment in Florida? We're glad you asked. Blah, 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 blah. Hey, I'm David at Kreizer Law Firm. Happy to have one of our, happy to talk to you about what your situation is and see if we can help you.
One of the things that I think that, I've tried to come across to David, and that obviously some of the commercials and the things that we're working with a quote unquote professional production company,
right,
is important. However, I feel like these things, one of the things that COVID has done for us, it's kind of allowed us to this more of this informal look into your space kind of thing. And
right.
So if you could even speak to him a little bit about what you were discussing the other day about just allowing people a little bit of insight into that professional page that you had discussed, how those little things that you share also can be linked just in building who you are, what your reputation is about, and that also kind of drives people to your site or the attention of what you're doing professionally.
Okay. So when you make these little 1-minute videos answering questions, they can be on YouTube, they can be on Twitter, they can be Facebook. A lot of these are going to be, you see, I guess for corporate sorts of things, you got to be more professional, but anything that's consumer, these short little 1-minute video selfie style where
I'm just laughing because listen, Ollie's super successful. He's one of our members in our group. I just don't know if that for David, maybe not the best example because he really utilizes social media in a very different way, successfly for sure.
Yeah, I get it. Ali's got a different style. He's like a Gary Vaynerchuk. Okay, so he's one of my coaching clients.
Yes. Okay.
He's like, so yeah, like I'm not like I'm not the Texas law hawk type of attorney. I sort of have a little bit more.
I get it.
He's just a little bit more subdued.
I get it. So we have a lot of examples. I just got this MacBook Pro because I left my laptop on a plane in Dubai.
Oh, that would make me lose my mind.
But I went to Costco a couple of days ago and just had to get a new one because the Emirates could not figure out where it went. And
oh my gosh, do they
so
ever get
now
it
like
back?
files that I used to have here, I have to like re-download all my favorite files.
My God, that make me crazy.
We have a whole course on how do you do 1-minute videos. So let's say, David, your style is you're the professional speaker, right? You can still answer these questions. We can still set up a thing where, here you are explaining how to do whatever this thing is, right? But the key is you just need, or have these other ones, right? We have so many examples of how you do these 1-minute videos. And I've done it too, right? Lots of them. Here's how you do it from the stage. Here's how you do it with an iPhone. Here's how we have thousands of examples of making 1-minute videos. Actually, this is video editing.
That's very cool. I need to see that.
We'll give you access to all this kind of stuff. You can just knock yourself out. Anyway.
You have
don't let the
so many good. Is this something that I'm sure you have a lot more that you can expound upon in all of that.
Yeah.
Is what you do. I know you teach people how to do this. Do you have a company or part of your organization who says you can hire us to do this?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, frankly, that's what I was going to be
have
one
another
of my
hour in
questions,
my day to try and figure this all out.
Yes, we do. We do it, and we have other partner agencies that do this. And you can also, there's different flavors of getting the work done. What you're talking about is implementation, right? Because us three, we could spend a whole day going through all the stuff that's going on here. And then you're like, oh, wow, that's really fascinating. Now I'm depressed because you pointed out all these things that we need to do, but really we just need someone to do it because I'm busy taking care of cases and clients and things like that.
Right.
Yes.
And also we don't have the expertise. So we'd have to go learn
the
how to do
expertise
it.
is all right here. The expertise,
Yeah,
David,
right.
is on YouTube, right? I mean, it's not like the expertise doesn't exist. It's all there. We have checklists on everything, right? We train a bunch of attorneys on, like, I think I have 5.
So I can learn it.
agencies.
I'm not saying I can't learn it, right? I know that if you taught me, I just don't know if I have the wherewithal as I'm trying to build out a CMS and handle the rest of the firm. So I'm happy to learn alongside somebody doing it. But at the same time, we're in like a real, like you said, it's like an emergency ER situation. We are now decommissioned, dethroned, whatever the verbiage is. People can't find
I like
us
dethroned.
on the
That means
internet.
everyone's on the throne.
They were never, they had the fake.
We were
Burger
never
King
thrones.
crowns,
You're right.
They weren't ever actually, you know, those paper Burger King crowns?
That's about it. The
Yes,
Burger
that's
King
what we
hat
were
is
wearing.
about as far as we've got as to be crowned.
Okay, so you guys as business owners need to understand enough about the strategy and about what you need to do, and to be able to tell whether the agencies or VAs you have are actually legitimately doing things properly. Not because you're cynical and believe they're trying to scam you, but
Well,
because
a little bit.
But
She's the
because
cynical
you need to be
sibling.
able to give them direction, because David, you've got to be able to create 1-minute videos. If you don't give us the right 1-minute videos, it's garbage in, garbage out, right?
Right.
So I'm pretty good at doing things like Facebook ads and lead ads and SEO and all that. But if you don't give me, like, even if you had me personally doing this stuff for you, if you don't give me the 1-minute videos in the way I want, I can't make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
Mhm.
So there is some education you have to do to understand how you do your part, which is producing the content. But it doesn't mean you have to become the worker and learn every one of these worker level sorts of skills on processing different things. So
again, the timing is really apropos because this existing company is now trying to put us in touch with another third party to save our site, which is,
wait, so these are the guys who got you. Let me get this right, Dawn. These are the folks who got you suspended. And they think that usually the people who create the problem are not the people who can solve the problem. Because if they knew what they were doing, they wouldn't have got you suspended.
Well, not only that, I mean, quite frankly, I don't have to go too deep into the woods on this story, but he blamed all of this on these Regis spaces, you know, the Regis co-work
co-working,
spaces that we verified.
We don't even have any Regis spaces on our verified.
We didn't verify those spaces. We only use them for the attorneys to go meet with clients. We didn't even ask you to verify them. And then he kind of backtracked and said, well, let me look at your file. So he's pushing us to have this meeting with David. What's the name of that company?
It is.
See if he even knows who they are.
Hold on. I have it. I'm looking at it right now. Steady Demand.
Oh, that's my buddy, Ben Fisher.
Okay. So
yeah.
Brown.
You want to see how small this world is?
I'm sure it is.
People, these are people who are just subbing it to other people who are subbing it to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Social
here it is, right?
Yeah.
And I've interviewed Ben Fisher on how to get your stuff unsuspended. Look, here's the freaking raw podcast. Ben Fisher, who's the CEO. Oh shoot, we already downloaded it. The CEO of Steady Demand. We go back. Here it is, Steady. Look at this. Here it is. Where's Ben Fisher? Let me just show you. Let me go back and show you how far Ben Fisher and I go back.
You know him. He's not a fly by night. So at least that they're trying to rectify it with somebody who knows what they're doing.
Ben is probably the best when it comes to. Look, this is freaking 12 years ago. Speaking in the same space. Look, here's Ben Fisher again. Ben Fisher did hosting before he did GMB. Now his whole thing is GMB.
Interesting.
Actually, 5 years ago, he called himself Social Dude because he tried to come into social media. But
no more. He's not.
Yeah, freaking Ben Fisher, Steady Demand.
That's so funny.
This world is so small. You would not believe how small this world is. It's just insane.
Interesting.
I'll click like on his
So
thing.
from my viewpoint, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, this is what I think needs to happen. We need to figure out a way to get ourselves back undethroned. We then need to hire the right company to get us moving forward in the SEO world, and whether that means making 1-minute videos or doing whatever it means, we have to do it. And also, as part of that, we need to create more meaningful backlinks.
Lots of content.
Yeah.
Well, the content's the videos, the content's the blog writing, and also getting us backlinks. Is that
right?
Everything in a very succinct,
Consolidated
small sentence?
I agree with that, because there's accountability on your part where you need light coaching so that you're making the right videos. So somebody like me or someone who's trained in our method can look at the videos that you're making and be able to say, well, David, video number 3, can you just rephrase that this way? Or this one video is doing really well. Hey, Dawn, can you find another thing where David's speaking about this particular topic? And there's just a little bit of light kind of coaching and coordination, especially in the first couple months to get you going. But the bulk of the work is going to be stuff that can be done mechanically by virtual assistants that are reasonably well trained, and software. There's a lot of software, as you can see. Most of the software, like you see Ahrefs and SEMrush, is SEO analytics, but it's not the actual execution of processing the content. So I would think you'd need 2 or 3 VAs that could help you process the content to get things going, because building the house initially is way more effort than maintaining the house. So it's just more effort in constructing. We have done a lightweight audit so far. I'm sure if you give me another 10 or 15 minutes, I could find all kinds of interesting things to look at on what you have.
I'm sure. So
and then it may cause frustration or whatever it is, but we'll identify and fix all those things. So I would recommend that we start with an audit, and the audit will include the training. We'll also, we'll point out it's like an X-ray. So we'll point out all the things that are messed up. If going to Ben Fisher's a good choice, so do that in parallel. We can include a little bit of coaching to just make sure you're, because we'll give you access to all the training, but if you don't apply it, then what's the point of all this training? Then it's like more YouTube videos, right?
Well, it's also this is my question. Like, I would really love for you to give us kind of almost a laid out plan, because I don't think that ultimately that this digital marketing company is for us. We got here. At least they have the wherewithal to say, well, they've tried for 2.5 months. They couldn't fix it. So they went for help. This is going on already for a couple of months, but then what, Dennis?
Yeah.
Then what? Where do we take our site? Who's managing the site? Who's overseeing it?
Yeah, you want to plan.
Almost like from like a GC perspective, who's going to hire all the subs? Who's going to make the plan?
How do we know all of
whatever,
this?
What's the involvement that we need to have, et cetera?
So you want a plan step by step on what to do. And we have, so the general
and people
plan,
to do it.
Yeah, and get it done. Yeah. And so this thing we have called the Content Factory is what you need. This is a 300-page guide on how to do it, which is taking the content you have on the left side, repurposing it in different ways, and then putting it on your Facebook and GMB and all that kind of stuff, and then running ads for it for $1 a day in the cities that you want to be known for, right? So this is the plan that shows how it's done, and we have a retainer that's $1,000 a month where we will do it for you. That done for you retainer it's not consulting, it is not training, it is literally our people that are in Pakistan and other places implementing according to our process. Because we separate out the training, consulting, like what we're doing now, we separate that out from the implementation. So the people that are trained in our systems, they just implement. I mean, they're friendly and all, but they're not going to be able to get on a Zoom call because their English isn't all that good, that kind of thing. So we have this documented on how we do this whole thing in detail. You can inspect it. I'll send it to you. So I would recommend that we do this because there's so many obvious sorts of things that we need to do in local. In parallel, Ben can unban your thing and ask Ben about us, right? Ask Ben about our process and what we do, and you'll hear him say this.
So let me ask your opinion though on this. So this meeting is being set up by our present digital marketing company who we want to break our ties with. I mean, I don't want to stay with somebody who really doesn't know what they're doing. Nothing of what you said has come out from anyone's mouth that we've worked with.
Okay.
At all.
Okay. I mean, we can take it over from this other agency. I still like Ben. The fact you mentioned Ben's a really good choice. I mean, even though you want to get away from this agency, I'll still give them kudos for.
I mean, we have to pay him separately anyway. I mean, it's not that it's like they're bringing in another party.
What Ben does is he allows other agencies to white label and mark up his stuff, which is exactly what agencies do. I don't know the agency that you're working with, but my guess is most likely you have somebody who's kind of like an account rep or general contractor, as you said, David, and then based on what you said, they just sub it out to these other people, and maybe they're not very well coordinated in the subbing of it out, or they themselves don't understand it well enough to really drive the real results. So then they just end up buying stuff from Ben Fisher, buying stuff. It's like going to Home Depot and buying a whole bunch of stuff. That doesn't make you a contractor. You need to know what you're doing too.
All right.
So we're happy to take it over from another agency. We just need to get access and be able to do an audit. So I recommend that we do an audit. It's $1,500 and we prepare a document and we walk through it. And I think you'll find it highly valuable. Think of it as like the X-ray, and like, we don't want to start operating. I know that you're in pain and you want an operation, a heart operation, like whatever kind of operation you think you need, but we would like to do an audit first, and then let's discuss. And I'm pretty sure that this Content Factory retainer, which is $1,000 a month, will satisfy most of what you need. I know you have multiple locations. You have some people in virtual-ish offices. Some of these markets are competitive. We can do that analysis in the audit, but I don't want to make any sort of promises until we get a chance to thoroughly analyze. And it may be, I'm like 90% sure, like 99% sure that when we begin our audit and get access, we're going to find things that are broken with your analytics so that even the data that you're collecting is incorrect. And we will fix that as part of the audit too.
So question
I'm happy to move forward with the audit. So what kind of access do you need? And how does that go? How do we go about doing that in a way that we're not tipping off the current company
I don't think it matters.
I think it's gonna be, I mean, they're gonna, once they see my name attached to it, they're like, oh, Dennis is involved, we're dead.
Okay.
They've been found out. Okay. Like, yeah.
Okay. So it is what it is. And so,
I mean, for the access, we have this thing called the access checklist. You see this here on my screen?
Yeah.
So the access checklist walks you through, here's all, you're going to give us access to your GMB, to your Google Analytics, to your Twitter, to your Facebook Business Manager. You're not going to give us any usernames or passwords because we never do that because that creates security concerns. Access to your website. And you do have to give us well, we don't require it, but I think you're going to like it. Give us access to one of the CNAME records so we can install a media room on your site.
The what record?
I don't even know what that is, but okay.
It's a hosting thing. Yeah, you log into your GoDaddy or whatever, and then you give us this one thing.
We are, what are we? WordPress. So same thing, right?
WordPress is great. I love WordPress.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So my next question to you is, this analytics takes place. You tell us all the things that are broken. Yeah. You have this team that we pay on this monthly retainer to fix. Yep. What about the whole management? Where does the website still reside? Who manages the website? Oh, okay. Is that someone else who takes care of new content written or blogs or that kind of?
So who are you hosting with right now?
With WordPress. We have our own spot on the WordPress site.
Okay. So let's just keep that hosting.
Yeah, no, don't you remember that was like one of the things that they said, you should host your own
you're on
site.
WP Engine.
Yeah.
That's fine. So another rule, I'm glad you brought this up, David, is we adamantly insist that clients own all their own assets. You own the website, you own the Facebook ad account, you own, because then there's like, I cannot tell you how many times we see people get caught in hostage situations. It's just an ugly thing. And then the agency won't let go of it, or they or the ads that you made, you lose, or all the links that you had go away, or like just, so yeah, you should own your hosting, you should own your domain, you should own all that, but give us access so that we can repurpose and post, right? Make this Basically take your videos and turn them into articles. So it's your words. We're not making up stuff. We're just you're answering these different questions based on PAA. Remember, like you're answering questions based on what Google says you need to, but Google says people are asking this. You answer those, we will turn those into tweets and blog posts and Facebook posts and all that. And that will help you rank in GMB. We'll cross post to your GMB too.
So is your recommendation that we move forward with this meeting he's trying to schedule with your buddy? Or do you think that we should just say, listen, wait till you do the audit, we won't have give us an idea of what the
I think we should try and fix the Google problem in, as you said, parallel.
Those are, you do those in tandem.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when you get on the phone with Ben, say, I was talking with Dennis Yu, and then just hear what he has to say. Just say, yeah, I was talking with Dennis Yu, and tell me what he says.
Okay. All right, Dave. So you need to tell me what your calendar's like for Monday. Dennis, this has been really, I am so
thank you for getting on with us so quickly.
Made time for us. I really appreciate it. And I'm so glad that I tuned in to this.
You know that Ken is a client of ours, and we've been doing his SEO and fixing. Did you remember at the beginning of the webinar, I showed all these things that were broken on Pilma?
That was,
so broken. And the funny thing is, I think like 9 months ago or so, we did the initial audit for Ken, and we had a meeting. He brought all his people. And I said, Ken, do you want the bad news?
I think I tuned in a couple minutes late and didn't realize it was his site. How about that?
That was his site. Yeah. And I said, Ken, how do you want it? And I told him all these, and we went through the whole thing kind of like today, except his had stuff that was even more broken. And he said, Dennis, just go ahead and fix it.
That's how he says.
You're the professional, right? We trust you. I'm not afraid to be embarrassed. All these ladies are here. He's got all these wonderful ladies on his team. We've been teaching them, doing coaching calls so they can teach other attorneys. And I said, Ken, let me ask you this. So if we do an incredible job on your site, fixing all these different pieces, training up your ladies so that we can build this amazing team in-house, would you be averse to us showcasing you as a lighthouse, as an example to all the other personal injury attorneys? Because I'm not a personal injury attorney, right? I didn't pass the bar. I don't even know what some of these words mean. But you are well known in the PI space. And he said, you are the expert in SEO and digital marketing and all that. And I would be happy to talk about all the stuff that you guys have done with me if you achieve the results and all that we talked about, which I'm confident you can.
So I find it so interesting because from my understanding, he had a piece in one of the companies that I was just
going to say the exact
promoting who burned his site. So
yeah, but Ken is a pay-to-play player, so he's willing to do that, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But then again, if we're not driving the results, well, that could reflect badly on him. But it was eye-opening for Ken. And we had it all recorded. We had Zoom call after Zoom call after Zoom call, because we always record all the Zoom calls, like this Zoom call we're recording. And so Ken said these amazing things about our results and what we did and the process, and how it was just refreshing because we had all the data and there was a process.
I'm telling you, that's my word for you. Like I was texting, I think, David right away, like, you really need to tune in. This guy has a lot of different things to say than anyone else.
Yeah. And then Ken said, and so I said, Ken, can we quote you on that? He said, absolutely.
Yeah. Terrific. It's great.
It's great. And we can, by example,
painful getting here, but I'm glad we found you.
I'd love to do that with you guys, right? Let's like Ali Awad.
I hope we do.
He is a great lighthouse for us. I spoke at his CEO lawyer thing. We've done webinars together, and we're like with Ali, because he's the social media lawyer, which I know, David, you're not trying to be like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. But we're showing different angles of how to get more cases through social media. And Ali Awad is our amazing poster boy example, right? Because he's following.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I'm anti-social media. It's just more so the content and like the, like the better call Saul-ness of it, if you know what I mean. Like
how do you get people's attention on social media without being that kind of
I get it. You're not driving a Lamborghini and saying, look at me, or things like that. I get it.
No, he's not.
But I hope in 3 to 6 months, maybe by early next year, when you make these 1-minute videos for us, according to the topics that Google tells us, I hope that you will be okay with us taking those videos and put it and repurposing them in the TikToks. Okay. You don't have to be on TikTok. You don't have to sing and dance. You just answer these questions professionally. And then we just post them to TikTok and run ads against them. My hope is we get to, and not right now, but as we
No, that's what that's like, because from my point of view, we don't know how to use social media to our benefit. And obviously it's an avenue and a tunnel that we are missing out on, for sure.
I have the #1 best-selling book in the social media category on Amazon. And it happens to be on TikTok ads. But we've not talked about any of that here today. I didn't talk about it in that thing a couple of days ago, because if you cannot get the basics of making 1-minute videos, answering questions, trying to add this extra layer of TikTok is just too much.
Okay.
But I want to go there, but not yet.
I'm excited. I am really excited. I really am. I think this
3 to
is
4 months.
So do you send us a link for payment, and then, we tell you when we did everything that you want us to do, or,
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the chat here.
Okay.
So the audit is this one, blitzmetrics.com/power hour. So you can check out on that one. And then the ongoing retainer is blitzmetrics.com/CEC. And the retainer is month to month. It's $1,000 a month. That's our fee. That includes all our tools, our time, all this. But the ad spend, whatever you spend on Google and Facebook and all, like, that's just on your accounts. There's no markup. That's whatever you pay them, right?
So there's no management fee for the ad spend?
No, we think the management fee is unethical.
That's funny.
And I've argued with agencies about this, and that's a whole can of worms. But basically, I don't believe that agencies should charge a management fee based on spend or whatever. It should be, you have a direct relationship with Google and Facebook and whatever. We don't interfere. We'll manage the accounts, we'll manage the ads, we'll create the ads, we'll tune them and all that, but it's your account. And whatever money you pay over there, we don't mix the money we get with the money that you spend on ads.
Do you make recommendation as to size of spend in certain areas? Because we wouldn't know one way or another.
We have benchmarks, but ultimately it's based on what kind of results are we getting, right? How many leads, how many cases are we getting? Because the last thing we want to say is, oh, well, in Paramus, New Jersey, you should spend $2,000 a month. Well, maybe not. It depends on what kind of leads we're getting, right? So we let the data determine that. And we will constantly say, and we're famous for the $1 a day technique. If you hear $1 a day, I invented that 15 years ago. That we'll start with $1 a day. So $7 per post as we're testing. And as things start to do well, we'll say, hey, Dawn, this one thing, we recommend spending $10 a day. Do you approve? So another $300, like, yes. Okay, good. This one thing we want to turn down, this thing. So we'll constantly be adjusting at the post level so that the total recommendation, the total budget will be based on how the individual, it's a bottom up. It's based on how the individual posts are performing. Right? It's not just, we're going to spend the $3,000 a month regardless. Like if the ads are performing poorly, we're still going to spend the money because the budget's $3,000. That doesn't make any sense. But if we're doing really well, the budget's at $3,000, but we're going to stop it because we don't want to exceed the budget. No, if this one thing's doing really well, let's increase it. We recommend spending $5,000 because this particular campaign's working well. So our budget recommendation is based on performance, not we're just going to try to hit that number no matter what. Right.
Which is this exact opposite, right? So we've always been given this is what you should spend.
No. That is wrong. Now, if you're data driven, then by definition, you're going to be performance driven. So we're going to recommend what we think is the right amount to spend based on our current performance. Our hope is that we do such a good job, you're going to say, wow, let's spend 20 grand a month because we can start to expand because we're getting more cases, because this new content that David made about it, false imprisonment's doing really well, and let's invest more in that. So each of these, we view advertising and campaigns and content creation, all the stuff we're doing together, as like micro investments, right? It's not a Las Vegas, like let's bet it all on red kind of randomness. This is working well. Let's put a little more on this one. Oh, this other thing is not doing well. Let's turn that one off.
So you're speaking a lot to the social media, and you had made mention of this, I think, on your on the workshop about how every page is a landing page. Yes. And how PPC and being able to utilize, because we've never found success in the PPC world at all.
Well, we did when we were doing nursing home for a small period of time.
Nursing home, we would get 2 or 3 cases maybe,
okay,
but never in MVA. It was literally like, you might as well just taken 10 grand and thrown it out the window every month. Here you go. Because not one case, I don't think.
Well, we will cover that in the audit.
Okay.
And then if there's particular things that you think we need to know for context, like the GMB was suspended, or you're going after MDA, or like whatever it is. So when you check out, it should come back with an intake form that says, okay, you know, tell us a little bit more so that we have some context in the audit on what to look for.
Okay.
I can tell you one thing that will give you context, even though, because we've been focusing on it a lot. I am very, very highly selective on civil rights cases. And
Okay.
I don't really want internet traffic because it's all garbage. So like, you know, all of our efforts, at least for now, would be motor vehicle premises, nursing home cases. So yes, I think one of the reasons why that's such a successful page is because nobody else has.
You should explain more, Dave. I think that he's selective because he took that Central Park 5, the jogger, that famous case. It's because they were exonerated, and nobody we've worked with was able to get it that kind of specific on taking exonerated cases, now looking for an attorney to get them the justice. They are people who, you know, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people wrongfully imprisoned, but also there's also a lot
of people that say they didn't do it, but did.
Right.
So, you know.
Okay, so fine. I mean, I see you have the, you know, what's 10 plus 10 on the form, but if you say, like you said, Dawn, and, you know, you've been falsely imprisoned and exonerated, then let's talk, right? So you have to say exactly who you want to talk to. If on the landing page you don't say that, you're going to get all kinds of internet garbage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll drive you all these leads and say, hey, we're winning. Look at all these leads we're driving you. Right?
Right. Which is what we've experienced. So I'm going to go back to one other thing. Again, I'm very excited to work with you. I think that this is going to be a good step in putting us in a much better place.
Mm-hmm.
I just need some clarification on, after the audit and after the monthly retainer of you making sure that we're building content kind of all over, you'll provide us with a plan of attack. Yeah. What about the day-to-day management if the website goes down, or you know,
or if there's a piece of news we want out there, or if there's a new result, you know, that we settled a case for $5 million.
Is that you? Is that
so right? You would put, if you make that as one of your videos, or you put it as an article, we can post it. But the website maintenance and like, oh, can you make a new page about this or whatever? That's separate things. So we're not a website building, website hosting, website maintenance, web design company. There's a lot of folks that can do that. So we can sub it to these other people with your approval.
As long as I know that you have somebody,
as long as there's an avenue to get
there somewhere.
But we want to be clear that that's the whole, that whole world of managing websites and maintenance, and the website goes down and updating plugins, and like, that's a whole nother thing. That's something else. Now, having WP Engine, which is a monthly hosted package, will probably cover 90% of that. That's why you pay the extra for WP Engine, right? And I imagine that's your WP Engine account you have there, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So if you get rid of the agency, you better make sure you have access to information. Because sometimes, I'm not saying these guys are malicious, but sometimes, you know, you want to leave the agency for whatever reason. A lot of clients are like, you know what, you guys have been so good, we're taking in-house. We love seeing that. But sometimes the agency doesn't want to cooperate. So make sure you have administrative and ownership of every single thing you have before you say goodbye to the agency. Because the minute they know, they may decide not to play nice. Who knows?
Is there a back way, you know, for us to get in to make sure all of that? Like, how
I'm pretty sure we own all of our assets and have our own passwords, et cetera. But we can double check.
As part of the onboarding for that initial audit, the Power Hour, you'll see that the system will send you a link to blitzmetrics.com/ACL. I'll just put it here anyway, just so you can go there now.
Actually, can you send me all of those links in an email or on my text? So, because I see you posting it right now, I'm trying to write it down really fast.
Can you not copy it? You can just copy it out of the chat.
Oh, I can.
You know, a little control, copy, paste. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And also when you get, so the audit's the audit, but when you start the retainer, you also get access to all of our training. So all the courses, all these documents, all that kind of stuff, you get the whole library so that you can see what we're doing. And then certain strategic things that are worth your time as business owners, we'll point out what you need to see. Yeah, don't try to consume everything in the library. We see some clients, they sign up and like, oh, wow, I got access to the library. I'm just going to, you know, binge for the next week and order DoorDash. Like, don't do that. That's too much.
Sounds good.
You have any other questions, David?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing what the audit is. I guess what's the
Yeah, me
turnaround
too.
time is my last question. How quickly do you get it back to us?
Once you can give us access, that's the asterisk. Once you give us access, typically 1 week.
Okay.
But the clock doesn't start until you give us access.
Got it.
Yeah. And then you're going to see one of the account managers, probably Todd, who is a bright young man. He, came from the military and starting his new career in digital marketing. He will be he'll project manage everything through, and you'll see, if you guys use Basecamp, that's our project management system. So you'll see these different messages that come through Basecamp, and that will tell you kind of what's going on and set expectations. Now we're at this phase. Now we're going to do this. Now, here's what's going to happen next.